What's up, Mi Duole podcast listeners? Episode 21 here. This is Stuart Anderson giving a short introduction before we move on, where we talk to Brian Trapp from Voler, not Voler, Voler. We talk about that and get into the pronunciation and where the name comes from. Voler supplies all of the clothing for the Mi Duole team and has for years. We're grateful for them and their partnership. They really are partners, not just sponsors. So we talk with Brian about his job at Voler, how he helps design the retail brands, and how he helps create all the new colors, all the new styles, and how we as a team kind of interact with that clothing company. Pretty fun conversation with him to get some inside details of how their company works and how they work with us. So anyway, hope you enjoy it. We just closed down the kit order for the summer of 2021. We're planning on June 10th. It's a Thursday night, and more details to come there, but that's going to be kit pickup if you want to plan now. Should be fun, team picture and all. I think I talk about it in the podcast, but anyway, huge order again, so thanks to everybody who buys team clothes and outfits themselves looking like Duoles out on the road. So, all right, good introduction, and on with the podcast. Hope you enjoy it, and that's it. Okay, bye.
Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. Stuart here with Kristen. We are hosting this next episode, Mi Duole podcast. We are welcoming our good friend and guest, Brian Trapp. What's up, Brian?
How's it going?
Brian's joining us from Voler headquarters, and it's late. Brian's like pulling the midnight oil here to stay at work, right?
Yeah, 7:30 on the West Coast.
So, I want to give Brian just a quick introduction, and then we'll kind of roll into what we're going to talk about with him. But so Brian and I first met, I looked it up today, our first email, Brian, February 2019.
Oh my goodness. Has it only been
That's what I thought.
just over 2 years?
So I thought it was 2018. It was the spring of 2019. Oh
my goodness. It feels like probably because I look at your pictures and your faces every day. That's surprising. You guys have contributed so much to the brand in that short amount of time. I'm surprised.
I know. So was I. So the team, Mi Duole, has used Voler since 1986 when the company started. So we both kind of got our start at the same time. And Brian and his family live in San Luis Obispo. That's where Voler headquarters are as well. And I'm going to give a quick background about Voler, some stuff that we love, because everyone always asks, like, why don't we switch to DNA? Why don't we use hyperthreads? Why do we stay with a company out of California? And for me, I asked those same questions when I kind of took over the team. But for one, customer service is above and beyond. So the way that Voler takes care of us is unmatched. If you didn't know, because you're not involved, product innovation is the coolest thing, in my opinion. Like the way every year Voler, they don't stay static. So everything always improves year to year. And then gear quality is incredible. So the durability of you guys that buy one pair of bibs per season and wear it for like 10,000 miles, like those bibs, they hold up, and it's incredible and disgusting at the same time, but also incredible. And then one of my favorite things that Voler does is just their personal connection. I mean, the fact that they know us, they know who we are, and they love our team. I just think the company itself is unlike any other company that I do business with. So really grateful for our association with your company, Brian. First of all.
That's great.
And then Brian manages, hopefully I get this right, Brian. I put that Brian manages the look and the feel of the brand. He's an expert in telling the story of the brand and creating the connection with the consumer, with the company, whether it's through his marketing or advertising efforts, through our Zwift races, through social media, the website, email campaigns. Brian tells the story of cycling through Voler. And I've seen him build the brand and also manage how they grow and interact with us. He's on the front lines of developing the brand. So kudos, Brian. Very good. The coolest thing about Brian, too, I follow him on social media, Strava, and I watch his family and his personal life. And he is out doing the things that we love to do. Nothing better than seeing Brian rock a 5 a.m. Saturday start time. It's the best. Well done. And I told him recently when we rode our Zwift race that he is, you passed the test. I mean, you're Duole if you want to be one. I mean, you're in. So
awesome. Thank you.
So that's it. Introduction to Brian. Obviously, Kristen is here.
I am here.
She is here.
Yes. To make sure Stu doesn't say anything too ridiculous.
I'll say it. Doesn't matter. So I wanted to start, first of all, Brian, this is the key to the whole podcast today. Is it Voler or is it Voler?
However you want to say it.
No.
We have people ask it all the
I
time.
know.
I did some serious research today. I thought is it a French? I mean, in French,
So,
it means, yeah, go.
And this is where I'm probably getting it all wrong, but I do know that one of the founders of the companies, and I didn't look up his last name before tonight, and his name is Jacques. And so Voler is how you pronounce it. Voler, it's a French word. We've always been an American company. We've always been USA made. We've started in San Luis Obispo and are just south in Grover Beach, still in San Luis Obispo County. But it's a French name for an American company, and it's pronounced Voler, and it means to fly in French. So that is the official. So ole, ole or Voler. So
Voler. Okay, so there's no Mi Duoles. It's Mi Duole. And there's no Voler.
There's Voler.
Voler, but probably about half people call it Voler, 40% call it Voler, 10%
Voler. I've never heard Voler.
Voler, So anyway, Voler.
It just makes it fancy if it's Voler. It's like when you call Target Target.
Yeah.
It's like fancy
Voler.
French version, right?
Yeah. Okay, Brian, tell us about your life. What do you do? What do you do for the company, first of all?
So my title is e-commerce and marketing director. So I manage a team of, I manage the team here that heads up everything that encompasses marketing and e-commerce. And what that means is everything that you mentioned. It's from marketing the organization, product development, design on the retail side. So Voler is broken up essentially, not to get into the weeds, but broken up into two essential businesses. It's the custom side that all the Duoles are familiar with. And then the retail side of the business, which is all the product that you can buy and anybody can buy in onesie twosies. And so it's the retail side of the business is what I'm responsible for and what my team is responsible for. So it's the retail side, it's social media, we work with our sponsored teams and athletes as well. So connecting with whether it's Tibco or you and Kristen, Mi Duole or Orange Seal, Jason McKelvin and Hannah. So our team also helps manage that and stay connected to them connected to us. So yeah, that's
so not very many things then.
Pardon me?
So not very many things.
Yeah, you're not doing a whole thing for the company.
Yeah, we're a small company. Voler we're manufacturing. We're also a brand. And those are we grew up as a manufacturer, whereas the brand wasn't developed until 1999. As far as something that was customer facing and where we're really trying to appeal to retail customers. So. And I think that's one of the, not to start heading in the wrong direction here, but that's one of the reasons why we, I think, have been able to make it for so many years in this space in manufacturing in California, in the US, is that we started out as a manufacturer, and understanding how to do that and just stay alive for 2 decades or 25 years is it drives our culture now. We're changing that culture a bit, not in its efficiencies in manufacturing, but that I think is one of the reasons why we're still around, is that we are we have a lot of experience in manufacturing and doing it well.
Nice. Well, when you look at the catalog of products available to our team from a custom standpoint, there is, in my opinion, none that compares when it comes to what is available to a team beyond like a wind vest, bib, and jersey. I mean, if you look at the catalog that opens up to team members, from undershirts to long sleeve thermals, super jerseys, hats, booties, I mean, neck gaiters, there is no one that even touches the amount of products that this team gets with you guys. I mean, it is, in my opinion, I don't know what other
Custom.
I don't know what Castelli's catalog looks like, but it's got to be close, in my opinion. So anyway,
Right.
I think
Ask about. Okay, Brian, tell us more about your family and what you did maybe before, like how you fell into Voler. Are you a cyclist? Are you just sort of an avid athlete? Was working in the cycling industry always like a goal?
Yeah. So I've been cycling for years, for many years, not just 4 years. And cycling since I was a young age. Athletics has always been a part of my life. I'm married with 3 kids from 9 to 14 years old. My wife and I it's always been a part of our marriage. It's been a part of our relationship. So it's just been a part of our life. Athletics and cycling as well. I was a triathlete for a number of years. Earlier on in the early 2000s. I'm a runner. And so swimmer, obviously running, swimming, cycling. So now today I'm mountain biking, gravel, road, running, and then some swimming as well. So I've had a really strange career. There is no way that I could have designed this path that has brought me to Voler. I've done a variety of things, but it was about 8 or so years ago that Aaron Barker, who's now one of our owners and vice president of sales and marketing, also he's on the custom side of the business primarily. He and I just started just talking. We were friends or acquaintances, and we started just talking business and just sharing ideas. And I would share ideas about branding primarily and what I saw in Voler. And then he and I, because I was doing my own business, I've owned and run my own business for the past 15 or more years. So I've always taken a bit of a different route when it comes to career and just supporting my family. But he and I started chatting, and so I started working with Voler on a contract basis. And my goal with working with Voler on a contract basis was to help Aaron bring the brand along as far as a consumer-facing brand, to help develop the brand. And it was, I told him a number of times, I'll do my job well as a consultant for you and for Voler, if I can work myself out of a job and you guys bring somebody on full time that is the director of marketing, director of brand, and can take the business forward. Because I've got my own job, I've got my own business. I'm happy with what I'm doing, but I love what you guys are doing. I want to see you succeed there, and I want to see Voler succeed. And so we did that for about 5 years. I worked on a contract basis, and it was great. We did a lot of great projects together, and the brand was moving forward. And then about 3 years ago, I think 3.5 years ago, he called me up on a Monday morning and asked me if I wanted to come in full time and work at Voler as director of marketing. And I just couldn't pass up on the opportunity to at least give it a try. Doing dual roles, and they were fine with me doing a dual role of still running my own business and working at Voler full time. So I feel, and I love what I do now. So I'm full time now, and my other business has been reduced down in size, and it still runs on its own and it does its own thing. But 95% of my time is now with Voler. And I could not have, I feel fortunate. I love the industry that we're in. I love the creativity of what we do. I just could not have designed where I've been blessed to be at Voler and doing what I'm doing.
Money.
So, yeah.
What about, could you talk a little bit about the company? Just let everybody know the size, is it a factory? I mean, like maybe kind of how it just looked. If people came to the shop, what it would look like?
Yeah, sure. So we're I don't know how big it is. There's three big buildings. So we're about 80 people total. 50 of those people it's a manufacturer. So we do all the cutting. When we bring raw fabrics in, we do all the cutting. We do all the sublimation, which is the printing process. We do all the sewing. So all the trims, the zippers, the reflective binding, all of that, from cutting the fabric to sewing and to shipping is all done right in-house at our factory in Grover Beach. So, I don't know how many square feet the factory is, but we have a sewing floor of 20, 25 craftsmen and women that are sewing the product. So when you come here, it's manufacturer. And that's exciting. My family business was in manufacturing for decades and decades. So when I stepped into the office and saw manufacturing at Voler, it felt like home to me with how I grew up, where, the offices are secondary to just getting the job done and getting great product out the door. So that's about 80 people, and 30 of those are executives or salespeople on the customer side, Ashley, and who you guys deal with. And then my team over here on the retail side is customers, 8 of us. There's shipping and warehousing, there's customer service. And then there's about 3 of us that have our hands-on with crafting the brand and the retail side of the business.
Dang. And then does everybody live in San Luis Obispo? I mean, is everybody right? I mean, you guys are all right there, like a community.
Yeah, for the most part, spread out within a couple of neighboring cities, but we're all right in the area here. So we don't have any workers that are distributed or working elsewhere. We all, come in every day and work.
I have it further on down the our outline, but what happened last year to your company with COVID and the pandemic?
So, like everybody else, right around March, we shut down for 2 months. Because of all of there's a certain portion of our factory that lives and works in an area that's closer to Santa Barbara. That was pretty hard hit. But it was by California order that we needed to shut down. So we shut down the factory completely. There was nothing going on. I was still able to come in, and I still needed to come in because we still had our website. We still were shipping orders. We were still taking orders on the website. We still had inventory in the warehouse for the retail side of the business. So I was still, and 1 or 2 others, we were still trying to operate Voler and keep the brand alive. And it was the only source of revenue for the business for those 2 months, while the rest of the company was shut down. So it was an exciting time. I mean, you guys know that's when our Zwift series started, which was just absolutely fortunate. And so yet another blessing to have come and rise up, even though we didn't see obviously the pandemic coming. So it was shut down. We were a ghost town, but we did a decent job of keeping the lights on and keeping product shipping out the door. And
so everybody's back now. I mean,
so everybody's back after that 2-month period, and I think everybody knows the cycling industry is it's been great for business. So where things didn't, business didn't take a nosedive, and business has continued to grow significantly over the past year. On the retail side, the custom and events and shops, and that's been a bit more of a volatile ride, but on the retail side, it's just been incredible. So
yeah, a lot of great imagery and models that you use to make sure that product.
Honestly,
that was amazing.
honestly.
Okay.
I think when I look at Vole's website, a lot of the stuff that was on there, and I don't want to give you all the credit because I don't actually know, but I would assume it's your team. I do think that whatever you're doing, and maybe we'll just ask like how it is that you go through the process of like the innovation process, like start to finish, of creating new products, designing them, color choice. I do feel like over the last like 2 years, you guys have made a huge shift from that sort of REI kind of brand where a guy's just going to walk in and he's going to buy it just because that's what's being sold there, to really like a sleek, you're really trying to appeal to like the avid cyclist that wants good stuff, that wants to look good. You know what I mean? So I just wonder how does that process go and how involved are you in it?
Okay. Yeah. So I'll talk more about what the retail side of the business. The custom side is obviously the designs, the look of the custom side of the business is defined by each individual team, and that is its unique process. And R&D is its own unique process, and we can talk about that for sure. We have another team that's involved in that I'm a part of as well. But on the retail side, well, I appreciate the compliment. It's something that we've worked really hard on as a team, which is we probably 2 or 3 years ago, we focused in on understanding color, having a better understanding of how color plays out seasonally, plays out with customers. And so we took a deep dive into us just getting a better understanding of that. I had very little experience in how color played out in apparel, how in the fashion world, cycling, just in general. So I think it is one of the more satisfying and proud of the process. And so it's not so much it's you creating those colors on a seasonal basis, but then creating the process by which you begin to identify how trends are beginning to flow into the cycling industry or the outdoor industry. And one thing that we did, which I think has helped define us or hopefully set us apart on some level, is, and this was certainly driven in part by me, because I did not want to look inside the industry for our inspiration, because that is one, you're just going to become neurotic and you're just going to be grabbing for what the next guy is doing. You're never going to be good because you're always going to be following the guys that are good. So how do you define your own look, but not looking like a copycat? Because any brand is susceptible to doing that, because they have their competitors and you see what they're doing, and that kind of gets you fired up. And so one major step that we made, or one decision we made, was we're not looking inside, we're looking outside of our industry, and we're looking towards the outdoor industry. And I think that bode well with the cycling growing in gravel, growing in adventure riding, growing and then the pandemic, and so many more people, so many enthusiasts coming on board or just new to cycling came on. And what are they exposed to? They're exposed to the outdoor industry already through whatever it might be, Lululemon or Voler or On Running or Mountain Hardware. So we began looking outside to help it influence us and our look and what we were doing. And I think that's made a big difference. And we've made plenty of mistakes. It's just made a difference. I think it set us apart in a unique way, not always the right way. We make dumb decisions. We just put those on sale and get them out. But I think that's one part of our business that I feel the most proud of, is that process that we've created as a team in our color selection and being influenced by more than just our industry.
That is so cool.
It is awesome. I think it totally shows through too. You guys were, I feel like, ahead of the camo craze. At least those camos. And then I felt like, I went into Lulu and it was like everything there was camo, and Athleta was camo, and all of a sudden, but I feel like you guys kind of hit it first. And I know our guys, every time I wore any camo bib, people just went bananas for it. And it was interesting to see that sort of play out in the trend for like that season and the year, because I felt like it was totally on point and people went kind of bananas for it. And they still do. Like they see it and they love it.
Camo doesn't seem to die.
I mean, it's always good, but
no, it's always good. And another piece is the small team that we have. I think we've built up a level of trust, because I was new to the business. I came into this position of some of the leadership. So gaining the trust of, and that we all trust each other, and we all have different ideas that we're bringing to the table, but because we trust each other, and we feel very free to share our opinions, from color and everything else to product development. I think that's really helped us just come up with some fun ideas. Go with those riskier ideas, and some have paid off. And I think camo is one of them. It really did really well. It blew me. That was only going to be a limited release item, and then it just continued to sell and sell and sell, and so we kept it on. So
awesome.
Brian, one thing that I love about Voler, and you've said it a few times, is you talk about stuff like you don't refer to the people that work at your office as like staff. You've called them a team. You've called them you've talked about the culture of your company. Talk about for a sec, like when you guys gather, what is the mission? What's the purpose of like Voler? Because I feel like it's beyond like pumping out bibs.
Yeah. Without sounding cheesy or canned, I get, and we all get a thrill. So we have, athletes, Mi Duoles, we're all out there trying to realize this version of ourselves, athletically, personally, whatever that might be. So there's this personal achievement that we all feel, and that we all have a desire to achieve. And that's professional athletes like Red Bull athlete Payson. I mean, he has his own agenda. He has his own goals that he's setting for himself, down to somebody who's getting on the bike for the first time, and they have their own personal achievements and they have their goals, whether that's just clearing their mind and getting outside, or it's physical, it's weight loss or whatever it might be. And then, so there's that, and there's the excitement of seeing people just chase after those goals, and that's part of it. There's this idea that we all want to belong to something, beyond ourselves or part of a community. That's powerful in cycling. That's powerful in teams that come together. And why do you join a team? It's because you're enjoying something together, and that fosters a sense of community that I think cycling is just one of the best forms of fitness that fosters that community. There's nothing better than sitting side by side with somebody who's catching up for a half hour on life, kids, whatever it might be. And then probably the third is connecting to the outdoors. So it's what we're all doing on some level is being getting outdoors and personal achievement. It's building a community, however you might want to do that. And then it's just sharing that love of the outdoors. And we're fortunate enough, I'm in the business, and we're in the business of, that happens to be through cycling apparel. So it's through cycling apparel that if we can inspire our pro athletes down to our casual consumer to do one of those three things or all of those three things, that's what gets me excited. So I think that's what gets us all excited.
So for years, I've worn like the thermal top. That's like, I wear that almost 80% of my life when I ride.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, Ashley, the designer, tells me that you've created the super thermal. How does one go about saying we need to create the super thermal? Who comes up? How is that an idea inside your company?
It's brilliant, by the way.
I mean, like, that's what I'm saying is like, how do you go from making a thing and then you guys are like, no, we got a whole, do you go outside the industry? Do you have people researching? Is it like customer feedback?
Yep.
I gotta know.
Yeah, it is all the above. It's from athletes, whether it's our frontline athletes or professional athletes that are, racing in the spring classics, and they're saying, listen, we need an all-weather jersey, but we need it to be short sleeve and we need it to be hyper breathable. You don't have that yet. It's a combination of a velocity jersey and a wind vest, but I would like something that's, just all in one, short sleeve, extreme weather kit. And that's something that we're actually working on now that, hopefully we'll see the light of day. It's been out there with our team Tipco. So it's influenced from, so they might come to us with ideas and needs. We really need this. It's personal desire or wants. We're out riding or mountain biking and realize we, are riding baggies and want pockets on the back of the baggies or on the liners. So it's a combination of input from customers, input from professionals, or just mixing and mashing two pieces together and coming up with an idea. It's not as sexy as maybe some R&D might be at other organizations. I don't know. I've never worked for an organization that had R&D, but it's our. And then we gather together, and then it's a matter of fabrics. What fabrics are going to sourcing the fabrics and trims, and then seeing what through our manufacturing and our sewers and the talent that they have, what they can put together. We don't have access to everything that we might be able to use to put together a garment. So then we might have a more talented crew that can put something together that's unique. So
very cool. And beyond that, if stuff doesn't work out, so I'll just tell a quick process that happened last spring. And I don't know if Brian, you even know this, but the new Velocity jersey that was custom made for the team, when some of the team members, who I'm not going to fault them, were very rough on this jersey, shoving larger items in the back pockets, were tearing the pockets away from the jersey. And, obviously when a jersey tears and it's $100 jersey, guys are like, obviously it's not my fault. Like, it's the jersey's fault. And so we had at least 4 or 5 who we said, okay, well, I know that one Voler will fix them. So you can mail them in and they'll sew them back up. But beyond that, we went down the process of designing a better reinforced back pocket with the product designer. So she sent me 5 different jersey types that each had like a different way to sew on the back pocket. And like over the next 2 or 3 months, I hope that the feedback I gave kind of like created an idea in her mind of what a real life situation would create a better, more strengthened pocket. And it was really cool to be part of a process where you're like, no, we're going to make it better. And this is how we're going to make it better. So hopefully, I hope guys aren't ripping pockets still. Chip is shoving sleeping bags in the back of his jersey. So anyway, but it was really cool. It was really cool to be part of that process. And we still are. Yeah. Kristen and I still product test a lot of stuff that bibs and pads and jerseys. So anyway, very cool. It's a really cool part of your company. I love it.
Yeah, that type of feedback, and I was very aware of what was going on with your jerseys, and then we noticed it maybe on 1 or 2 others. And so, but that's you guys are on the front lines in a lot of ways, wearing and abusing our product. So when it starts to fail or not perform like we had thought it was going to, that's exactly what we need, are people raising their hand and saying, hey, listen, I think this might be able to be improved, or at least need to fix this. And so that's great. We love, we need that.
I love to get emails from Cami because I know that you guys are invested in the product. You're invested in what we actually need. And when she emails me about women's specific products, I love that because sometimes I think it gets overlooked in a sense. We probably don't buy as much. It's not as big of a market. But when she emails me very, very specific things that she wants me to look at, or let her know what is this like in real life. And I think it says a lot to you and the way that you run the team over there, that it is, like Stu said, it's always changing. It's never just staying like, okay, well, here's your 10 products. This is just what we make. So pick between this. We did have a pro jersey. We've noticed these things. We're going to totally change it. And we're going to come out with a new pro jersey that's better than the one that you had before. And
zippers.
I get excited. I'm like, the sad thing is as a cyclist, I'm like, she tells me, okay, we'll look for this, this, and this. And I'm just like, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to have a zipper on the back, or I want to see all the new bells and whistles. And so I just think it's fun that we get to be a part of it. And we get to see a little bit into your guys' culture, which I feel like matches up a lot with, if you were to ask us what Mi Duole's mission statement is, like what we see, I feel like it matches up with the same values.
Crushing people on a bike.
Cami does a great job with R&D and women's clothing, specifically women's clothing. We've sponsored Team Tibco, one of the longest running women's professional cycling team, for I think it's 15, 16 years now. And I think credit is due to Tibco and our CEO's relationship with Linda Jackson, who runs the Team Tibco team. That has, I think it has to have had a big influence on, because women's cycling, it doesn't take up a very large percentage of our sales. We would love it to, and we work towards that with product and having a variety of sizes and colors and everything else on the retail side. But it takes a lot of effort to work on those products when it's going to be a significantly smaller portion of your revenue, but you still need to put just as much time and attention into making sure that it works just as well for women cyclists. And I'm grateful that, Cami and our culture has always embraced that. I mean, there are a few items here and there that we just haven't, you're working on a wind jacket, a Black Label thermal jacket that we just haven't had in our lineup. We don't sell very many of them to guys, but we're working on it for women now, so we're not going to sell very many of them. But it's important to us that we have it for men and women.
Awesome.
It just might take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So one thing about the brand, if I could take a step back, I don't say this because the two of you are on the podcast, I'm talking to you two, but also 2 years ago when things started changing was the photography in the brand. And that is, yes, it was you two, but your influence and Laura's influence in her photography, that has made a major impact on driving us to not only have great photography and release great photos along with our product from season to season, but it's also raised the bar for us and it's on some level, it's even inspired us with the product that we have, knowing that, wait a second, this looks fantastic. It looks great on Stu. It looks great on Kristen. Laura does an amazing job with the photography. And that cannot go understated about how that has influenced the culture, how it's influenced me, how it's influenced our team over the past couple of years as well. So
cool.
We're incredibly grateful.
Well, as soon as Laura stops editing out my gut, people will know.
Whatever.
We know Laura doesn't edit because you get things like the bike guitar picture ending up on the web. So Laura sends all things.
Yeah.
It's like our
The gold
favorite
chain
part.
until I realized the gold chain wasn't a joke, and then I felt bad.
That's actually real. That's real.
That is real. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad.
So what would you say your big goals for Voler are now that you're full-time and moving forward with the brand? Like what do you guys see in your future, and what are your goals moving forward?
It is. We do see a lot of growth on the brand, on the retail side of the business. So my goal is to continue to. We're still. Well, we're never going to settle. So we're still trying to define our voice in a lot of ways. I think it's been a great 2 or 3 years. I'm always a little bit paranoid. I think that's a little bit of paranoia is good to never resting on what you did last year. Every season is new. The industry is changing. The perception of your brand continues to morph. And I think it's exciting. It's also the work never stops as far as defining that brand. But I still think we are, and not to say that we've done an amazing job leading up to this. But I do feel, and we've talked about this internally, where we're stepping into a new chapter or a part two of Voler on some level. We have some exciting things happening this year that I think are going to may have a major impact on the brand. And so continuing to define Voler as its own unique, interesting, fun brand. Cool. To be able to do that in a unique way that still is true to who we are as an American-made manufacturer, and we don't talk about price and value very often. I just don't think that's a very effective way to go about marketing. But we're the prices, when you can compare it around are very good, and that's part of what we want to do too, is maintain that it's an approachable brand. So, and innovation, continuing to innovate as much as we have, and have that certainly be a part of our culture, maybe even more so, about telling the innovation of who we are and what we're doing on a product level.
Awesome. We're excited to watch.
Yeah, we're your biggest cheerleaders, dude.
It's true.
Oh, thank you.
Duoles, man, they live and die. I've told you many times, there's nothing more sacred to a cyclist than a fresh pair of bibs.
It's true.
Fresh pair of diapers.
Fresh pair of diapers. Nice. Well, I think this is a good place to stop to kind of wrap up. But Brian, anything else that you wanted to add or say before we kind of wrap up?
I think what comes to mind for me is how much I appreciate the support from the Duoles, just the history of the team, but how much your guys and gals have embraced the custom side, have embraced our brand, talk about our brand, just seem to share a genuine enthusiasm for what we're doing. And there's nothing better as a product designer, as a business person, to see people that are loosely connected to who you are and very well connected, just genuinely enthusiastic about what you spent so much time, months and months of planning, putting together. You barf it out into the world, and to see people excited about it, there's just nothing better. So every time they do it is really just I'm so grateful for it, and just want to say that the team is a standout. You and Kristen are a standout. Chip is a standout, and all the guys, and it's felt, and we all feel it here. So it really drives us. It drives our excitement, and coming in. Although I think we're in an exciting business, it still is fun to see. So can't thank you guys enough. Well,
we love Voler, your guys' passion. I mean, we feel that enthusiasm. It's so fun to connect and just to share, like kit release days. Like it's like Christmas. It's like the best thing ever to release the kit store to the team. And we appreciate all the people that touch the stuff that we wear. And I mean, it is who we are in reality. Like guys and gals love looking the way we look, and that's all on you guys. So thank you.
Well, I really appreciate the compliments and feedback. Thanks
Well
for that.
done. Thanks. That was fun.
Okay. Thanks for letting me chat with the team and you guys.
Hey, man. See
Okay,
ya.
bye. Bye.